The world has gone quiet. Shadows stretch across the walls. Let your thoughts grow soft. A story waits in the stillness. If it brings you peace, like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss a night. Now let the story find you. You ride into the dusk, your horse's hooves kicking up dust on the cracked trail. The sky burns orange, like a fire that's forgotten how to die. Your spurs jingle softly, a lonely sound in the vast Wyoming plains. You've been riding for days, chasing a rumor, a whisper of a place called the Silent Village. They say no one speaks there, not a word, not a cry. They say the wind carries voices that aren't human. You're not sure why you're drawn to it, but something in your chest pulls you forward, like a thread tied to your heart. Your name doesn't matter out here. Folks in the last town called you Drifter, and that's close enough. Your revolver hangs heavy at your hip, and your hat shields your eyes from the fading sun. The air smells of sagebrush and something sweeter, almost sickly, like overripe fruit. You notice the trail narrowing, the grass on either side growing wilder, untamed. A wooden signpost leans crookedly ahead, its letters faded but legible. Silent Village, 5 miles. Your horse snorts uneasy, and you pat its neck, murmuring soft words to calm it. Night creeps in as you ride on. The stars are sharp, like pinpricks in a black curtain. You hear a coyote howl, but it cuts off abruptly, leaving a silence that feels too heavy. You shake it off, telling yourself it's just the open land playing tricks. Then you see it, a flicker of light in the distance, faint as a candle flame. It winks out, then returns, steady now. The village, your destination. Your pulse quickens, but you keep your horse at a steady pace, not trusting the eagerness bubbling inside you. As you get closer, shapes emerge from the dark. Low, crumbling buildings, their windows dark and empty. A windmill creaks lazily, its blades groaning in the breeze. The light comes from a single lantern hanging outside what looks like a saloon, its glow spilling onto the porch. You dismount, tying your horse to a post. The silence is thick now, not just quiet, but a weight that makes your ears strain for any sound. No crickets, no rustling, nothing. You step onto the porch, boots creaking, and push open the saloon doors. Inside, the air is stale, smelling of old whiskey and dust. A few tables are scattered about, chairs pushed in neatly. At the bar stands a woman, her back to you, polishing a glass with a rag. Her hair is dark, pinned up loosely, and her dress is faded but elegant, like something from a richer time. She doesn't turn as you approach, but you feel her awareness, sharp as a blade. You clear your throat, about to speak, when she raises a hand, silencing you. Her fingers are long, pale, and she points to a sign above the bar. No talking allowed. You frown, glancing around. The saloon is empty save for her, but the silence feels crowded, like unseen eyes are watching. You sit at the bar, and she slides a glass of whiskey toward you without meeting your gaze. Her eyes, when you finally catch them, are gray, almost silver, and they hold something you can't name. Sorrow, maybe, or a warning. You sip the whiskey, its burn grounding you, and notice a photograph on the wall behind her. It's old, sepia-toned, showing a group of people standing in front of this very saloon. Their faces are blurred except for one, hers unchanged, staring out as if she knew you'd see it one day. You want to ask her name, ask what this place is, but the sign looms above, and something in her gaze tells you to obey. You finish your drink, and she gestures toward a staircase at the back of the room. A room you assume for the night. You nod, tipping your hat, and head upstairs. The steps creak under your weight, each one louder than the last. At the top, a narrow hallway stretches out, doors lining both sides. You pick one at random, number 7, and step inside. The room is simple. A bed, a wash basin, a single window. You set your saddlebag down and sit on the edge of the bed, the springs groaning. Outside, the lantern's light sways, casting shadows that dance across the walls. You lie back, staring at the ceiling, and try to shake the unease curling in your gut. The woman's face lingers in your mind, her silver eyes, the photograph. You wonder who she is, why she's here, why no one speaks. Sleep tugs at you, heavy and insistent, but just as your eyes close, you hear it, a whisper, soft as a breath, coming from nowhere and everywhere. It says your name. You bolt upright, heart pounding, hand on your revolver. The room is empty, the window still. You strain to hear it again, but the silence returns, thicker than before. You lie back down, telling yourself it was a dream, but sleep doesn't come easy. The silent village has welcomed you, and you feel it watching, waiting, as if it knows why you came, even if you don't. You wake to the sound of nothing. The silence presses against your ears, heavier than the blanket draped over you. Sunlight filters through the window, pale and thin, like it's afraid to touch the room. You sit up, the bed creaking beneath you, and rub your eyes, trying to shake the memory of that whisper from last night. Your name spoken by no one. You tell yourself it was a trick of the mind, the kind of thing that happens when you're bone-tired and far from home. But the unease lingers, like a splinter you can't quite find. You splash water on your face from the wash basin, the cold biting your skin. Your reflection in the cracked mirror looks older than you remember, lines etched deeper around your eyes. You grab your hat and revolver, checking the chambers out of habit, and head downstairs. The saloon is empty, the bar wiped clean, no sign of the woman with the silver eyes. The photograph still hangs on the wall, her face staring out unchanged. You pause, studying it. The others in the image are blurred, their features smudged like wet ink, but hers is sharp, almost too real. You shake your head and step outside. The village is bathed in morning light, but it feels wrong, like a painting left out in the rain. The buildings lean slightly, their wood weathered to a gray that matches the sky. No one walks the streets, no horses clop, no voices call out. Just the windmill, creaking in the distance, and that same sickly sweet smell from last night, stronger now. You untie your horse, patting its flank, and decide to explore. Something about this place pulls at you like a current you can't see but feel. You walk down the main street, boots crunching on gravel. A general store sits to your left, its windows boarded up, but a faint glow seeps through the cracks. You push the door open and a bell jingles, startling you. The sound feels like a betrayal in this quiet place. Inside, shelves are half stocked with cans and jars, their labels faded. A man stands behind the counter, tall and thin, his face shadowed by a wide-brimmed hat. He doesn't look up, just keeps writing in a ledger, his pen scratching softly. You step closer, about to speak, when you see another sign. No talking aloud. You bite back your words, frustration rising, and point to a can of beans on the shelf. He nods, fetching it without a word, and slides it across the counter. His hands are rough, knuckles scarred, and his eyes, when they meet yours, are a dull brown, like muddy water. You pay with a coin from your pocket, and he tips his hat, a gesture that feels more like a dismissal than a courtesy. You leave, the bell jingling again, and stand outside, clutching the can. The silence feels thicker now, like it's trying to choke you. You glance back at the store, and for a moment, you swear you see a shadow move behind the boarded windows, too tall to be the man. You keep walking, passing a church with a broken steeple, its doors hanging open. Inside, pews are lined up neatly, but the air smells of damp wood and something else, like old flowers left to rot. You step inside, your footsteps echoing, and notice a hymn book open on a pew. The pages are yellowed, but the words are clear, written in a language you don't recognize. You trace a finger over the text, and a chill runs through you, sharp and sudden. You back away, heart thudding, and hurry out. Further down the street, you spot a livery stable, its doors ajar. Your horse nickers as you approach, sensing something you don't. Inside, stalls are empty, save for one where a black mare stands, her eyes wide and unblinking. A boy, no older than 16, brushes her mane, his movements slow and deliberate. He doesn't look at you, but you feel his attention, like a weight on your shoulders. Another sign hangs above the stall, no talking aloud. You clench your jaw, the rules of this place grating against your instincts. You gesture to your horse outside, hoping to check its shoes, and the boy nods, pointing to an empty stall. As you lead your horse inside, you notice carvings on the stable walls, crude etchings of faces, their eyes scratched out. Your stomach twists, but you focus on the task, checking your horse's hooves. The boy watches, silent, his hand still on the brush. You finish and nod your thanks, but as you turn to leave, he grabs your sleeve. His grip is cold, too cold, and he presses something into your hand, a small, tarnished locket. You open it, and inside is a tiny portrait of the woman from the saloon, her silver eyes staring back. You look up to ask the boy where he got it, but he's gone, the stable empty except for the mare, who snorts and stamps. You pocket the locket, heart racing, and step back into the street. The village feels smaller now, the buildings closer, like they're leaning in to listen. You head back toward the saloon, the locket heavy in your pocket, the woman's face burned into your mind. You don't know why you're here, not really, but you feel it. The silent village is pulling you deeper, and it's not ready to let you go. You stand outside the saloon, the locket burning a hole in your pocket. The village is still, the air thick with that sweet, rotting smell that clings to your throat. You glance down the street, half expecting to see the boy from the stable, but there's nothing, just the gray buildings and the windmill's lazy creak. Your horse shifts behind you, its ears twitching, and you pat its neck, grounding yourself. The woman's face in the locket, identical to the one in the photograph, gnaws at your thoughts. Who is she? Why does she feel so familiar, like a memory you can't quite grasp? You push open the saloon doors, the hinges groaning softly. Inside it's dim, the lantern casting long shadows across the floor. The woman is there again, behind the bar, polishing another glass. She doesn't look up, but you feel her attention, sharp and heavy. You sit at the bar, the locket pressing against your thigh. You want to show it to her, to see if her silver eyes flicker with recognition, but the no talking aloud sign looms above. You tap the bar instead, pointing to the whiskey bottle. She pours, sliding the glass toward you, her movement smooth, almost too perfect. You sip the whiskey, its warmth spreading through your chest, and study her. Her dress is the same, faded but elegant, and her hair is pinned just as it was last night. But there's something off, something you didn't notice before. Her hands don't tremble, don't falter like she's done this 1,000 times. You pull the locket from your pocket and set it on the bar, watching her closely. Her eyes flick to it, just for a moment, and her polishing slows. It's enough to make your pulse quicken. She knows it, you're sure of it. She reaches for the locket, her fingers brushing the metal, and you feel a jolt, like static but colder. She opens it, staring at the portrait inside, and her face changes, softening into something raw, almost pained. She closes it quickly, sliding it back to you, and points to the staircase. You frown, wanting answers, but her gaze is firm, unyielding. You pocket the locket and stand, the whiskey unfinished, and head upstairs to your room. The steps creak louder this time, each one a warning you can't quite heed. In your room, you sit on the bed, turning the locket over in your hands. The metal is warm now, unnaturally so, and the portrait inside seems sharper, her eyes more piercing. You set it on the neat stand and lie back, staring at the ceiling. Sleep feels far away, your mind tangled with questions. Why did the boy give you this? Why did she react that way? And that whisper last night, your name in the dark. You close your eyes, trying to quiet your thoughts, but the silence is too loud, too alive. You must have drifted off because you wake to a sound, faint but unmistakable, footsteps in the hallway. Slow, deliberate, coming closer. You sit up, hand on your revolver, and listen. The steps stop outside your door, and you hold your breath, waiting. The doorknob rattles just once, then nothing. You stand, moving quietly to the door, and press your ear against it. Silence, but not the empty kind. It feels like someone's holding their breath on the other side. You open the door, revolver raised, but the hallway is empty, the lantern's light flickering at the far end. You step into the hallway, your boots soft on the worn floorboards. The air is colder here, and that sweet smell is stronger, almost overwhelming. You notice something on the floor near the staircase, a piece of paper folded neatly. You pick it up, your fingers tingling as you unfold it. It's a letter, the ink smudged but readable, addressed to someone named Clara. The words are hurried, desperate. You can't stay. He knows. Leave before it's too late. It's unsigned, but the handwriting is elegant, like it belongs to someone who once had means. You pocket the letter, your heart pounding, and head downstairs. The saloon is empty again, the lantern dimmer now, like it's running out of oil. You step outside, needing air, and notice a figure at the edge of the street, near the church. It's a man, tall and broad-shouldered, wearing a long coat that flaps in the wind. He's watching you, his face hidden by shadow. You start toward him, but he turns, disappearing behind the church. You follow, your boots crunching louder now, the silence pressing harder against you. The churchyard is overgrown, the tombstones tilted and moss-covered. You find him standing near a grave, his back to you. You call out, forgetting the rules, your voice harsh in the quiet. He doesn't turn, but you feel his anger, heavy and cold. You step closer, hand on your revolver, and see the name on the tombstone, Clara. Your breath catches, the letter in your pocket feels like a weight. You look up and he's gone, but the air crackles with something you can't name, like a storm about to break. You back away, heart racing, and return to the saloon. The woman is there, her eyes meeting yours as you enter. She points to a chair at the corner table, and you sit, feeling like you have no choice. She sets a glass of water in front of you, her fingers brushing yours, and you feel that jolt again, colder, deeper. You pull out the letter and set it on the table, watching her. Her face doesn't change, but her eyes darken, like clouds passing over the moon. She shakes her head just once and walks away, leaving you with the letter, the locket, and the silence that feels like it's closing in. You stand outside the saloon, the locket burning a hole in your pocket. The village is still, the air thick with that sweet, rotting smell that clings to your throat. You glance down the street, half expecting to see the boy from the stable, but there's nothing, just the gray buildings and the windmill's lazy creak. Your horse shifts behind you, its ears twitching, and you pat its neck, grounding yourself. The woman's face in the locket, identical to the one in the photograph, gnaws at your thoughts. Who is she? Why does she feel so familiar, like a memory you can't quite grasp? You push open the saloon doors, the hinges groaning softly. Inside it's dim, the lantern casting long shadows across the floor. The woman is there again, behind the bar, polishing another glass. She doesn't look up, but you feel her attention, sharp and heavy. You sit at the bar, the locket pressing against your thigh. You want to show it to her, to see if her silver eyes flicker with recognition, but the no talking aloud sign looms above. You tap the bar instead, pointing to the whiskey bottle. She pours, sliding the glass toward you, her movements smooth, almost too perfect. You sip the whiskey, its warmth spreading through your chest, and study her. Her dress is the same, faded but elegant, and her hair is pinned just as it was last night. But there's something off, something you didn't notice before. Her hands don't tremble, don't falter like she's done this 1,000 times. You pull the locket from your pocket and set it on the bar, watching her closely. Her eyes flick to it, just for a moment, and her polishing slows. It's enough to make your pulse quicken. She knows it, you're sure of it. She reaches for the locket, her fingers brushing the metal, and you feel a jolt, like static but colder. She opens it, staring at the portrait inside, and her face changes, softening into something raw, almost pained. She closes it quickly, sliding it back to you, and points to the staircase. You frown, wanting answers, but her gaze is firm, unyielding. You pocket the locket and stand, the whiskey unfinished, and head upstairs to your room. The steps creak louder this time, each one a warning you can't quite heed. In your room, you sit on the bed, turning the locket over in your hands. The metal is warm now, unnaturally so, and the portrait inside seems sharper, her eyes more piercing. You set it on the knitstand and lie back, staring at the ceiling. Sleep feels far away, your mind tangled with questions. Why did the boy give you this? Why did she react that way? And that whisper last night, your name in the dark? You close your eyes, trying to quiet your thoughts, but the silence is too loud, too alive. You must have drifted off because you wake to a sound, faint but unmistakable. Footsteps in the hallway. Slow, deliberate, coming closer. You sit up, hand on your revolver, and listen. The steps stop outside your door, and you hold your breath, waiting. The doorknob rattles just once, then nothing. You stand, moving quietly to the door, and press your ear against it. Silence, but not the empty kind. It feels like someone's holding their breath on the other side. You open the door, revolver raised, but the hallway is empty, the lantern's light flickering at the far end. You step into the hallway, your boots soft on the worn floorboards. The air is colder here, and that sweet smell is stronger, almost overwhelming. You notice something on the floor near the staircase, a piece of paper folded neatly. You pick it up, your fingers tingling as you unfold it. It's a letter, the ink smudged but readable, addressed to someone named Clara. The words are hurried, desperate. You can't stay. He knows. Leave before it's too late. It's unsigned, but the handwriting is elegant, like it belongs to someone who once had means. You pocket the letter, your heart pounding, and head downstairs. The saloon is empty again, the lantern dimmer now, like it's running out of oil. You step outside, needing air, and notice a figure at the edge of the street, near the church. It's a man, tall and broad-shouldered, wearing a long coat that flaps in the wind. He's watching you, his face hidden by shadow. You start toward him, but he turns, disappearing behind the church. You follow, your boots crunching louder now, the silence pressing harder against you. The churchyard is overgrown, the tombstones tilted and moss-covered. You find him standing near a grave, his back to you. You call out, forgetting the rules, your voice harsh in the quiet. He doesn't turn, but you feel his anger, heavy and cold. You step closer, hand on your revolver, and see the name on the tombstone, Clara. Your breath catches, the letter in your pocket feels like a weight. You look up and he's gone, but the air crackles with something you can't name, like a storm about to break. You back away, heart racing, and return to the saloon. The woman is there, her eyes meeting yours as you enter. She points to a chair at the corner table, and you sit, feeling like you have no choice. She sets a glass of water in front of you, her fingers brushing yours, and you feel that jolt again, colder, deeper. You pull out the letter and set it on the table, watching her. Her face doesn't change, but her eyes darken, like clouds passing over the moon. She shakes her head just once and walks away, leaving you with the letter, the locket, and the silence that feels like it's closing in. You sit at the corner table, the letter and locket heavy in your hands, the woman's silver eyes lingering in your mind like a half-remembered dream. The saloon is dim, the lantern's glow barely holding back the shadows that seem to creep closer with every breath. You unfold the letter again, tracing the words, "You can't stay." He knows. The name Clara burns into you, tied to the tombstone, to the woman behind the bar. You glance at her, but she's turned away, wiping the counter with that same slow, deliberate motion. The silence wraps around you, thick and suffocating, broken only by the faint creak of the windmill outside. You pocket the letter and locket, standing to leave, but something stops you, a pull in your chest like a hand guiding you. You step outside, the air cooler now, carrying that sickly sweet scent that makes your stomach turn. The village feels smaller, the buildings hunched together, as if guarding a secret. Your horse stands where you left it, eyes wide, ears flicking nervously. You stroke its muzzle, whispering soft words, though the no-talking rule gnaws at you. You decide to walk, needing to move, to shake the weight of this place. The street leads you past the general store, its boarded windows dark now, no glow seeping through. You keep going, drawn to the edge of the village where the land opens into a field, wild and overgrown. A narrow path cuts through the tall grass, barely visible in the moonlight. You follow it, your boots sinking into the soft earth, the silence so deep it feels like you're underwater. The path ends at a low stone wall, crumbling and moss-covered, encircling a small graveyard. Not the one by the church, but older, forgotten. The tombstones are worn, names barely legible, but one stands out, fresher than the rest. Clara, no last name, no dates, just a single word carved deep. You kneel brushing dirt from the stone and feel a chill sharper than the night air. The letter's warning echoes in your mind, and you glance over your shoulder, half expecting the man in the long coat to be there. Nothing but shadows and grass swaying in the breeze. You stand, your hand brushing the locket in your pocket, and notice something glinting in the dirt. You dig with your fingers, unearthing a small silver ring, simple but heavy, engraved with a single word inside, forever. Your heart stumbles, the word too intimate, too heavy for this lonely place. You slip the ring into your pocket with the locket and letter, the weight of them grounding you. The village feels alive now, watching, waiting. You turn back toward the path, but a rustle in the grass stops you. It's faint, not animal, not wind, but deliberate, like footsteps trying not to be heard. You draw your revolver, the metal cold in your hand, and scan the field. A shape moves in the distance, low and quick, disappearing behind a cluster of trees. You follow, heart pounding, the grass parting around you like water. The trees are gnarled, their branches twisting into shapes that look too human in the moonlight. You find a clearing, and there, sitting on a fallen log, is the boy from the stable. His head is bowed, hands clasped tight as if praying. You step closer, the revolver still in your hand, and he looks up, his eyes wide and too bright, like they're reflecting more than the moon. He doesn't speak, of course, but points to the ground at his feet. You look down and see a small bundle wrapped in cloth, tied with twine. You kneel, setting the revolver beside you, and untie it. Inside is a journal, leather-bound and worn, its pages yellowed but intact. You open it, the boy watching silently. The handwriting matches the letter, elegant but hurried, and the entries are dated years ago. They speak of Clara, a woman who came to the village seeking refuge, loved by someone who wrote these words, someone who feared for her. He watches her. One entry reads, "He won't let her go." You glance at the boy, but he's staring at the trees now, his face pale. You flip to the last page, and your breath catches. A sketch of the woman from the saloon, her silver eyes rendered in ink, and beneath it, a single line. She's trapped, and so are we. You close the journal, your hands trembling, and look up to ask the boy what it means. But he's gone again, the clearing empty. The bundle is still in your hands, the journal heavy with secrets. You stand, revolver in one hand, journal in the other, and feel the village's silence pressing closer, like it's trying to swallow you whole. You head back toward the saloon, the path seeming longer now, the grass whispering against your legs. The ring, the locket, the letter, the journal, they're pieces of a puzzle you don't understand, but they feel like they belong to you, like you were meant to find them. You untie the ribbon, your fingers trembling, and read the top letter. It's from L, the same hand as the journal, the cabin's note. He's closer now, it reads. The silence is his weapon, but I'll find a way to free you. The words are desperate, laced with love and fear, and you feel a pang, as if you're intruding on something too raw. You skim the others, each one shorter, more frantic, until the last. Meet me at the church. We'll break his hold. You pocket the letters, the box left behind, and feel the stable's silence pressing harder, like it's warning you to stop. You step outside, the Marais snort following you, and head toward the church, the second place the woman pointed to. The broken steeple juts into the sky, a jagged wound against the stars. The doors creak as you enter, the scent of damp wood and rotting flowers hitting you again. The hymn book is still open, its strange words mocking you, but you ignore it and search the pews, the altar, the shadows. Under a loose floorboard near the pulpit, you find a hidden space, a cloth bundle inside. You unwrap it, revealing a silver hairpin, its rose-shaped ornament matching the clasp, the locket, the ring. A note is folded inside in Clara's hand. L, I'll wait as long as I can. Your breath catches, the pieces tightening around you. Clara, Elias, L, their story is a triangle, bound by love, jealousy, and something darker, something that's keeping them here, keeping you here. You pocket the hairpin and note, standing quickly, the church's shadows pooling too close, too heavy. You step outside, needing air, and glance toward the field, the woman's final point. The wild grass sways in the moonlight, calling you back to Clara's grave, but something stops you. A sound, faint but real, a low hum, coming from the general store. You turn toward it, drawn despite yourself, the store's boarded up, but the glow you've seen before flickers through the cracks, stronger now. You push the door, the bell jingling softly, and step inside. The man from before is gone, the counter empty, but the ledger lies open, its pages filled with names, dates, and items. You scan it, your heart pounding, and see Clara's name listed beside Elias and L. No last names, just a note, bound by the vow. You flip the page, and your name is there, scrawled in fresh ink. No date, no explanation. You stumble back, the ledger falling shut, and hear the hum again, louder, coming from the back of the store. You follow it, revolver in hand, to a curtained doorway you hadn't noticed before. Behind it, a narrow staircase descends into darkness. You grab a lantern from the counter, its light weak but enough, and climb down, the steps groaning under your weight. The air below is damp, the sweetness overwhelming, and you find a small room, its walls covered in photographs, dozens of them, all of Clara, some with Elias, some with a woman you don't recognize, her face soft. In the center is a table, and on it a single candle burns, its flame steady despite the stale hair. Beside it lies a vow written in Clara's hand, to Elias forever in silence. You read it, your chest tightening, and feel a presence behind you. You turn, lantern raised, and see the man in the long coat, Elias, standing at the foot of the stairs. His face is clear, now sharp and handsome, but cold. His eyes dark with something that isn't anger, but close. He doesn't move, just watches, and you feel the silence shift, like it's his to command. You step back, the vow in your hand, and he raises a hand, pointing to the table. You look and see a single dried rose, identical to the others, its petals glowing faintly in the candlelight. You grab the rose, the vow, and back toward the stairs, Helios's gaze heavy on you. You climb, heart racing, and burst into the store, the bell jingling as you stumble outside. The village is still, the saloon's lantern a distant glow, but you feel him behind you, not following but waiting. The woman's gestures, the stable, the church, the field, they're leading you somewhere, and you know now it's not just Clara's story you're unraveling, but your own, tied to this place by a vow you never made. You stand in the street, the vow and dried rose from the general store clutched in your trembling hands, Ilias's cold gaze still burning into your memory. The village's silence is a living thing, wrapping around you, its sickly sweet smell so thick it clings to your skin. The saloon's lantern flickers in the distance, but the woman's gestures stable, church, field pull you toward the wild grass where Clara's grave lies. You feel the weight of the locket, ring, journal, clasp, hairpin, and letters, each tying you tighter to a story that's not just hers but yours, somehow, impossibly. Your horse shifts behind you, its nervous breath misting in the moonlight, urging you to move. You head toward the field, the grass whispering under your boots, the low stone wall glinting faintly as you approach. Clara's grave is still, the name carved deep, but the earth around it looks disturbed, loose, as if someone's been here recently. You kneel, brushing the dirt aside, and find a small cloth pouch buried shallowly. Inside is a silver bracelet, its links delicate, a tiny rose charm dangling from it. It matches the other trinkets, and you feel a jolt, like another piece of the puzzle, snapping into place. A note is tucked inside the pouch, in that familiar elegant script. "Clara, I left this for you." He can't take it all, El? Your heart races as you pocket the bracelet and note the journal's words echoing. She's trapped, and so are we. You stand, scanning the field, and notice a faint light bobbing in the distance, near the copse of trees where the cabin and well lie. It's not the steady glow of a lantern, but something softer, like a candle held by unsteady hands. You follow it, revolver in hand, the grass parting around you, the silence so deep it feels like you're drowning. The light leads you to the well, its crumbling stone rim stark against the trees, the darkness inside swallowing the moonlight. You lean over, the bracelet heavy in your pocket, and hear that whisper again, clearer now. "Find me." It's Clara's voice, you're sure, soft but urgent, pulling you closer. You hold the lantern over the well, its light catching something below a glint of metal far down. You tie a rope from your saddlebag to the well's beam, testing its strength, and lower yourself, the walls slick and cold against your back. The air grows heavier, the sweetness overwhelming, and your boots touch solid ground, a narrow ledge above a deeper drop. In the dim light you see it, a silver necklace, its rose pendant identical to the others, tangled in roots that jut from the wall. You reach for it, fingers brushing the metal, and feel a surge, like a memory that's not yours. Clara's laughter, Elias's voice, low and possessive, Al's desperate pleas. You pull the necklace free and the well trembles, dust falling around you. You climb back up, heart pounding, the necklace clutched tight, and collapse beside the well, the rope still in your hands. The light you followed is gone, The tree's silent, but you feel her, Clara, closer than ever. You make your way back to the village, the necklace burning against your palm, and head to the church, drawn by the vow by Owl's promise to meet there. The doors creak as you enter, the air thick with that scent of rotting flowers. You search the altar, finding a hidden compartment beneath a loose stone. Inside is a single page, torn from the journal, its words frantic. He bound her with silence, with a vow she couldn't break. The roses are hers, scattered to keep her close. I'll wait in the field. It's signed L, and you feel a chill knowing the field is next, the final place the woman pointed to. You step outside, the church's shadow stretching long, and see the boy from the stable standing at the edge of the street. His eyes are too bright, his face pale, and he points to the field, then vanishes, like he was never there. You clutch the necklace, the page, and head back to the field. The grass taller now, the stone wall almost hidden. Clara's grave is different, the dirt piled higher, and you notice something new, a single dried rose, fresh, placed atop the mound. You pick it up, your hands shaking, and hear footsteps behind you. You turn, revolver raised, and see the woman from the saloon, her silver eyes gleaming in the moonlight. She's closer than she's ever been, her face soft but urgent, and she holds out her hand, palm up, as if asking for something. You hesitate, then place the necklace in her hand, and she closes her fingers around it, her touch cold but gentle. She points to the grave, then to you, and you understand. Clara's story is here, in the earth, in the roses, in the silence. She steps back, her eyes locked on yours, and fades into the grass, leaving you alone with the grave and the rose. You kneel, the journal open in your hands, and read the last entry again. She's trapped, and so are we. You feel Elias's shadow, Elle's love, Clara's vow, all tangled in this place, and know the field holds the final piece. The silence presses closer, but you're not afraid, not anymore. You're part of this now, and the village won't let you go until Clara's story is done. You kneel beside Clara's grave, the dried rose in your hand, its petals fragile but heavy with meaning. The field stretches around you, the grass whispering in the moonlight, the village's silence a weight that presses against your chest. The woman's silver eyes, her gesture toward the grave, linger in your mind, tying you to the locket. Ring, journal, clasp, hairpin, bracelet, necklace, and letters, each a piece of Clara's story now yours. The sickly sweet smell is everywhere, woven into the air, the earth, the very silence that holds this place together. You feel Elias's shadow, Elle's desperation, and Clara's trapped soul, all converging here, in this field, at this grave. You stand, brushing dirt from your knees, and scan the field. The low stone wall encircles the graveyard, its crumbling edges barely visible in the dark. Beyond it, the copse of trees looms, the well and cabin hidden within. But something closer catches your eye, a faint glow, like a firefly, hovering near the wall's far end. You move toward it, revolver in hand, the grass parting softly. The silence so deep it feels like you're walking through water. The glow grows brighter, resolving into a small lantern, set on the ground beside a stone you hadn't noticed before, its surface unmarked but polished smooth. You kneel again, setting your own lantern beside it, and see something tucked into a crack in the stone, a folded cloth embroidered with a single rose. You unfold it, revealing a small silver key, its handle shaped like the rose charms you found. A note is wrapped around it in Elle's elegant, hurried script. Clara, this unlocks the truth. Find it beneath the vow. I'll wait. Your heart pounds as you pocket the key and cloth, the vow from the general store flashing in your mind. To Elias forever in silence. The truth, Elle says, is beneath it, but where? You stand, the lanterns casting twin shadows, and feel a shift in the air, colder, heavier. The whisper comes again, Clara's voice, soft but clear. Beneath. It's not from the grave, but from the village, pulling you back. You glance at the saloon's distant lantern, then at the church, the stable, the general store, and know the answer lies there where the vow was found. You head back, the key burning in your pocket, the field's silence following you like a shadow. Your horse is still tethered near the saloon, its eyes wide, and you pat its flank, promising you'll leave soon, though you're not sure you believe it. The general store's bell jingles as you enter, the glow behind the boarded windows dim but steady. The ledger is still on the counter, your name scrawled in fresh ink, and you shudder, pushing past it to the curtained doorway. The staircase to the basement creaks under your boots, the air below thick with that sweet, rotting smell. The room is as you left it, photographs of Clara covering the walls, the candle still burning, impossibly steady. You approach the table where you found the vow, searching for anything beneath it, and notice a faint seam in the floorboards, barely visible. You kneel, prying at the seam with your knife, and uncover a small trapdoor, locked with a silver clasp shaped like a rose. The key fits perfectly, turning with a soft click, and you lift the trapdoor, revealing a shallow compartment. Inside is a leather-bound book, smaller than the journal, its cover embossed with a rose. You open it, the pages brittle, and find Clara's handwriting, not Elle's. It's her diary, her words raw and unguarded. Elias promised forever, but his love is a cage. Elle tried to free me, but the silence binds us all. The last entry is a plea. If you find this, break the vow. Set us free. You close the diary, your hands trembling, and feel a presence behind you. You turn, expecting Elias, but it's the boy from the stable, his eyes too bright, his face pale. He points to the diary, then to the candle, and you notice something new. The candle's wax is dripped into a pattern, a rose glowing faintly. You touch it, and the room shudders, the photographs on the walls trembling. The boy steps back, his form flickering, and you hear Clara's whisper again. Break it. You grab the diary and climb the stairs, the trapdoor slamming shut behind you, the bell jingling as you burst into the street. The village feels smaller, the buildings leaning closer, the silence sharper. You head to the saloon, drawn by the woman, by Clara's plea. She's there, behind the bar, her silver eyes locking onto the diary in your hands. She steps forward, her face soft but urgent, and takes the diary, her touch cold but steady. She opens it, reading silently, and a tear falls, glinting like moonlight. She points to the field, to the grave, and you understand. The vow must be broken there, where Clara's story began and ended. You follow her, the diary in her hands, the key, the rose, all leading you back to the field. The grave is waiting, the dirt still loose, and she kneels, placing the diary on the earth. She looks at you, her eyes pleading, and you know what's next. The vow, the silence, the roses, they're all tied to this place, to her, and you're the one who must finish it. The silence presses closer, but you feel Clara's strength, Elle's love, guiding you toward the end. You kneel beside Clara's grave, the dried rose in your hand, its petals fragile but heavy with meaning. The field stretches around you, the grass whispering in the moonlight, the village's silence a weight that presses against your chest. The woman's silver eyes, her gesture toward the grave, linger in your mind, tying you to the locket. Ring, clasp, hairpin, bracelet, necklace, key, and letters, each a piece of Clara's story, now yours. The vow to Elias forever in silence burns in your mind. Its words a chain that binds her, Elle, and even you to this place. You know what must be done. Break the vow, set them free, here, where Clara's story began and ended. You place the vow beside the diary, the dried rose atop it, and feel a tremor in the earth, faint but real, like a sigh held too long. The moonlight casts your shadow long, and you glance around expecting Elias, but the field is still, the grass swaying gently. Clara's whisper comes, soft and urgent, speak it. Your heart stumbles. The no talking aloud signs flash in your memory, but you understand. The silence is the vow's power, and to break it, you must defy the village's rule. You take a breath, the air thick with sweetness, and speak, your voice low but steady. Clara, your vow is broken. You're free. The words feel heavy, like stones dropped into a still pond, and the silence shudders, rippling outward. You pull out the locket, ring, clasp, hairpin, bracelet, necklace, and key, placing them around the grave, each one glinting in the moonlight. The journal and letters follow, their pages fluttering as if caught by a breeze you can't feel. You read the vow aloud, tearing it as you finish, the paper crumbling to dust in your hands. The earth trembles again, stronger now, and you hear a sound, a low hum, like the one from the general store, but deeper, rising from the grave. The rose on the diary glows faintly, its petals unfurling, and you see her, Clara, not the woman from the saloon, but a softer figure, her silver eyes bright with relief. She's younger, her face free of fear, and beside her stands another woman, Elle, her eyes soft and warm, their hands clasped. They nod to you, a silent thank you, and you feel a warmth in your chest, like a knot unraveling. But the hum grows louder, and you sense him, Elias, his shadow heavy, his presence cold. You stand, revolver in hand, and see him at the field's edge, his long coat flapping in a wind that isn't there. His face is sharp, his eyes dark with something beyond anger, something eternal. He steps forward, the silence bending around him, and you feel the village's weight, its desire to keep them, to keep you. You speak again, louder, Elias, your hold is broken. Let them go. Your voice cracks the silence like glass, and he pauses, his form flickering. Clara and Elle step closer to you, their light pushing against Elias's shadow. You pull the key from your pocket, the one that unlocked Clara's diary, and drive it into the earth above the grave, twisting it like a lock. The hum becomes a roar, the ground shaking, and Elias stumbles, his form fraying at the edges. The roses around the grave, dried, silver, carved, glow brighter, their light weaving together, and you feel Clara's strength, Elle's love, pouring through you. You shout one final time, you're free. The silence shatters, a soundless explosion that ripples through the village. Elias's shadow dissolves, his eyes wide with something like regret, and he's gone. The field still again. Clara and Elle stand before you, their forms fading, but their smiles are clear, peaceful. Clara's voice whispers, not in your ears but in your heart, "Thank you." They turn hand in hand and walk into the grass, their light dimming until the field is dark, the moonlight soft and quiet. You stand alone, the grave unmarked now, the dirt settled, the trinkets gone as if they never were. The silence is different, lighter, like a breath released. You walk back to the village, the saloon's lantern dark, the church's steeple straight, the stable empty. Your horse waits, calm now, and you mount, the journal's last words, "She's trapped." And so are we, a memory, not a weight. You ride out, the village fading behind you, the sickly sweet smell replaced by sagebrush and open air. Some stories stay with us long after the words fade. Let this one rest beside you. Sleep deeply, and if it returns in your dreams, perhaps it was never truly gone.